many bands out there could lose their lead singer and the quality of the music barely even dip or barely even be that much of an inconvenience to the band's sound or the band's quality? I'm asking this question because I don't know the answer to it. I really don't. I don't know how many bands this could happen to and it still somehow work. I mean, think of your favourite band or one of your favourite bands, right? The first few that come to mind, or the first half a dozen or the first dozen, depending on how many bands you love, and take away the singer and replace it with someone different. Like, would that be a good thing? Would it work? The chances probably are not very well, or it wouldn't work very often. And yet somehow, Black Country New Road here have not suffered the consequences of losing Isaac, in my opinion. Anyway, I really don't think they have. I was worried, and I was the first to say that without Isaac, I don't know how they're going to sound. I don't know if this is going to be good. And I've been massively proven wrong, and I can happily say that because this album is bloody great. I am super impressed with what they've delivered here. It is a total batch of fresh songs that I haven't heard before. I think some people have in live settings, which is fair enough. But I've still never seen them live. So this to me is a very new album. And yeah, it is truly fantastic from top to bottom, and yet somehow the lack of presence from Isaac is really not that much of a detriment to the album. And the thing is that Isaac is great. Isaac was fantastic. But somehow they've managed to make this work, and I just cannot applaud them enough, because to me, this shouldn't have been as good as it was. They begin things with Up Song, which is a really nice track that has a really nice twee melody that carries the song. It's got a cuteness to it, which I really like. And of course, the sax comes blurting through later on too, to add to the dynamics of the track, which is something we would truly and honestly have to expect from a Black Country New Road song. Dynamics and extra instrumentation added on top of what they often do. It's exactly the kind of thing that you would hope to hear on a Black Country New Road song. And yeah, with the lyrics, of course, there's reference to you know, the fact that they're the way that it's said should be terrible, but it's actually nice and warm the way it's done, where they say, look what we did together, BCNR friends together forever, basically, or whatever it is. That really should be corny as hell. It should not work, but yet the fact that you get the context with why they say that and the way it's sung, it's just generally really wholesome, and I love that about that moment on the album. I think it's a really nice moment. Obviously, maybe a little bit of a reference to the fact that, you know, Isaac isn't with them anymore, but he still is BCNR forever, and I like that. It's a great opener, and the fact that it's in a live setting doesn't even hinder the sound quality or anything like that. To be honest, at times I forget that this is a live album. I think the performances are so tight and everything is just recorded so bloody well that if it isn't for maybe the audience clapping, or maybe, you know, the singers coming through speaking about little tidbits here and there, the very rare times that happens on the album, like, I don't even know if I'd have noticed that this was live. Like, truly, it is recorded perfectly, and every note is heard. There's no weird echoey effects, or, you know, there's just no issues that you might expect from certain settings in a live setting. Like, that can add to the atmosphere when you're there in the moment, but hearing it in a recording, I mean, maybe some of those things might bleed through, but it just never does. It sounds crisp from start to end. The beauty behind the instrumentation on a lot of these tracks, the melodies come through perfectly as well. The vocal performances from the various singers that are kind of chipping in here and there sound great as well. Every word is heard. I am really impressed with how this sounds, and it really is fantastic in that sense. I like on Laughing Song how there's that kind of reference to multiple tracks, and they kind of string along some of the track names together, including The Wrong Trousers, which is mentioned, and of course The Wrong Trousers itself is again a really good track on the album here. Kind of hoping it's a reference to Wallace and Gromit. I mean, let's just hope it is. Please be a reference to that. I don't think the actual lyrics reference that film, but I just want the title to be a reference to it. The boy is an absolute beauty of a track, and perhaps my favorite song. It's definitely close between two. I think you're gonna know what the other one is, but I'll get to that soon. But The Boy, for me, man, the way May comes through, and I don't know, she sounds so much like Regina. There's got to be some influence there. The fact that I'm hearing Regina Spektor influence on a Black Country New Road album is quite remarkable, to be honest. But the way she came through, and across the entire track, that cuteness that comes through in Regina's voice, that kind of like whimsical feel to her voice as well, it's just all there. I think the influence has got to be noted here. But what a track this is. Good God, it's so lovely to listen to. I like the way it's staged into chapters as well, and the little story and the little narratives that's interwoven throughout is quite nice as well. It actually reminds me a little bit, and I don't think it's meant to be referencing this at all, to be honest with you, but the story, The Boy, the Fox, the Mole and the Horse. I don't know if anyone who isn't a teacher has ever read this, to be honest with you, because I think it's more of like a teacher thing. I am a teacher myself. Perhaps if you remember it from being a child, I don't know, you might do. I don't know, but it's a really lovely story, and you know, the boy kind of has different interactions with animals and things, and it's a really lovely story, actually. Like it tugs at your heartstrings, you know, the way they speak to one another, and that kind of little narrative that's going on in this story here kind of reminds me a bit of that. The repetition of the dancers standing still on a stage over and over again being mentioned on the track Dancers would usually get a bit annoying, I would think, in most other tracks, but I think the sharpness of the vocal delivery and the repetition and the instrumentation kind of flooding together, and that kind of climax moment which you get a lot with Black Country New Road's music, actually ends up giving the song, again, that extra layer of just oomph that I don't think you would have got if it weren't for the fact that this band collectively is just excellent with their musicianship. Like seriously, I think if this was just any old band, a song like this would have just gotten a bit stale, but it never really does. There's that kind of extra layer of atmosphere as well, with the way the vocals kind of start to feel like they're getting a bit manic and a bit twisted. I think that influence, obviously, from Isaac previously being the vocalist and having that impact on his singing as well, probably has bled through into a lot of what they do here naturally. And again, with the beautiful, remarkable way that the lyrics are put together on a track like Turbines and Pigs, which was obviously the other track that I was referencing in terms of being one of the best ones on the album, is just so fantastic. Like seriously, man, this song, the keys, again, this is what I mean, like this is a live recording and you just hear every note. It's absolutely beautiful. The delicacy, the just attention to detail, the craft of how it was handled, this track is so stunning. It's a beautiful song, and again, just another moment that just really just wows you from this band. I mean, they've got so many in their catalogue like this. I didn't actually love their last album as much as I would have wanted to, and it's certainly not as much as other people did. Ants from Up There. It is a good album, by the way. I'm not saying it's not a good album, it is. But again, that album had these moments as well where there's just that kind of like moment where you just feel like everything else stops and all you can hear is the music. And there aren't many bands that give you that sensation, but this band really do, with how they put together their music. It is stunning. To be honest with you, no description I can lay out could summarize a song better than the guy who you can hear in the audience right at the end of the song that just goes, yeah, and it really bleeds through into the audio. That guy, he knew exactly what I was trying to say with this song, because what he said there with that yeah, nailed it. But yeah, I mean, everything about this album just feels so purposeful. The instrumentation on the back end of Up song Reprise at the end, again, just sounds fantastic. I love the way they incorporate different instruments, and while there are some similarities to previous stuff they've done before, in that sense, like you hear some of those you know, Black Country New Road isms that come through on some of these tracks that you've heard on previous albums. It does feel different, and I think with this setting, this sort of kind of like narrow feel setting where everything just feels so intimate, and like I say, with the different vocalists coming through, providing different moments, different vocal abilities, the purposeful nature of everything with this album just kind of feels like a Kate Bush sort of thing here, with the way everything's crafted. the different influences coming through. I just think this is fantastic. And the more I'm talking about this, the more I'm talking myself into giving it a higher score than I was originally going to, which might surprise some people because I don't know if this one's going to be considered as highly ranked as their last two because of how, you know, acclaimed those two were. But this might be their best one. I really don't know if that's going to be something people agree with. But I'm feeling this one, man. I really am. Everything just feels glorious. The beauty behind what they've done on this album, it touches me in a way that I don't think their last two did. It is fantastic. And before I keep saying all these kind of random adjectives, I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm going to give it a 9. I was going to go 8.5, but nah, I think this is a 9. It's been quite a while since I gave out a 9 on this channel. It's not very often I do, but I do feel like this album is offering me something that I don't necessarily get elsewhere. And tracks like The Boy and Turbines and Pigs and Dancers and Upsong Reprise just feel so remarkable to me that I can't feel like I can go any lower. I have to be on the right side of history with this one. I think this is truly sensational and remarkable that they kept the quality up despite losing the singer. And like I say, name a band for me that you have a really recognizable voice. Take that out of the equation. Would they be able to keep things going and keep things as well as this band have here? I don't think so. I think it just speaks to the quality and the true brilliance and the true artistic value that these guys have as a band together, because losing that main part and making possibly their best work to date is just unheard of. So thank you for watching this review. Hopefully you agreed. Hopefully you can comment and tell me your thoughts if you agree, disagree, whatever you want to say. Check out my Patreon, check out my channel, other videos, all the kinds of content that I bring to the table. I'm putting out videos on a pretty consistent basis. If you've never checked out this channel before and this is your first time, please stick around. There's more kinds of videos on the way. Have a good day. Subscribe if you haven't already, please. Check out my Patreon, please, and goodbye.